Here's 16 tips to help you go from 0 chin-ups to being able to do 12 or more chin-ups with perfect form. I'm gonna share with you guys how I went from struggling to do chin-ups back in football in high school, having to have, seniors when I was a freshman shove me up, shoving on my butt just to get over the bar, to being able to train for American Ninja Warrior, do things like 100-pound weighted chin-ups, had one-arm chin-ups in the past, lots of calisthenics-based movements, tons of muscle-ups, and be able to share that with you guys here today, so that way if you are someone who maybe can only do 1 or 2 chin-ups, we'll be able to take you to being able to do 10 plus with perfect form. So I'm gonna go one by one with each of these tips and spend time in each of them to help you be able to go from 1 to 12 chin-ups. So step number 1 is gonna be have a goal. So I recommend if you are a man and you're training for chin-ups, you should aim for 12 chest to bar chin-ups. Not getting just your neck over or your chin over, but chest to bar. You should be to where your pinkies are basically touching your chest or your shoulders at the top of the bar. If you're a woman, I recommend doing 3 chest to bar chin-ups as your goal to work towards. This may take you 6 months, this may take you a year, but if you're really focused on this, you can get this in a much quicker period as well. Number 2 is switch from going overhand. A lot of people think that to do pull-ups, they should be doing overhand because pull-ups are overhand. But we actually want to train chin-ups instead of pull-ups for the most part. So if you are new to pull-ups, you can only do maybe 1, 2, 3 reps. Do all of your training with either a neutral grip like this, a semi-supinated grip, which is going to be the ones that are at like a 45-degree angle, or an underhand grip like this. In that order is gonna be your strongest to weaker variations. The 4th and weakest would be an overhand grip, just like so. The reason you wanna go neutral or underhand, or if I say underhand, I also mean supinated. That simply just means you're rotating your thumb away from your body like that. This is going to recruit more of your bicep and just bring more muscle into the equation, so that way it makes the process easier. You're not gonna go from 1 to 12 pull-ups by training overhand very quickly. You wanna get stronger in the easier variation, and then you can include the pronated ones later. Pronated just simply means overhand. These are more natural, right? If you're climbing a tree or you're on a bar, monkey bars, this is how you would normally grab it, but it's not how you want to train. It's gonna be very slow if you just train with pronated grip. So drop the pronated grip, go neutral, go underhand. Tip number 3 is gonna be focus on isometric holds and negatives until you're able to do 3 to 4 repetitions. So I don't recommend you just hitting the struggle bus and trying to get, more chin-ups, but you're barely able to get over the bar, your reps look terrible. Whenever I work with clients in person, if you are wanting to do more chin-ups, I'm gonna have you hold yourself chest to bar over that bar as long as possible. And then as you're going down, you're still trying to go down as slow as possible. You can also, do holds, a 3-way hold. So like 3 seconds here, chest to bar, 3 seconds at a 90 degree, 3 seconds at like this 150 degree right before you go to straight arms. Being able to train with super slow negatives or isometric holds is gonna build up your strength. So drop the ego and get rid of the concentric part until you can do 3 or 4 reps, chest to bar, consecutively. If you're training negatives and isometric holds, you may only want to do 1, 2, or 3 repetitions per set. If you can't do at least a 4-second negative on that set, end it on that rep. So that will tell you how many repetitions you can actually start doing. When you can typically do 5 really good 4-second negatives or 5-second negatives, you've got a little bit in the tank to be able to start to do some more repetitions on chin-ups. Tip number 4 is going to be working towards a 30-second isometric or negative. So the last tip was focusing on training negatives, but hit that goal of a nice 30-second hold or negative. So you're probably gonna spend most of your time over the bar because this is where people are strongest. And then you're gonna go that 90-degree position and you're just trying your hardest not to let your arms straighten until the very, very end. If you can do a 30-second chin up, this is how I got my client Corky at 60 years old to be able to get her first chin up, over the age of 60. She was able to do them in the past when she was in the military and in different sports. But she got older, she lost that ability, but that was a big one for her. We built up her chin up to being able to do 30 seconds on a negative. And then by the time we got that, it was just a few weeks before she was able to do her first chin up. So if you're struggling to get your first chin up, that's a good benchmark, is to aim for a 30-second isometric or negative. And you can kind of blend those two. You might spend most of your time up at the top, and that's okay. Tip number 5 for more chin ups is going to be supersetting your chin up negatives or isometrics, or even if you're just doing low rep, like 1, 2, or 3 repetition chin ups, superset your chin ups with lat pull downs and do about 12 reps of these with a 4-second negative. So start to build up more volume with that vertical pulling strength that you're lacking through a lat pull down. I like to change up the grips on this a lot. So you could do overhand. I'm a really big fan of building strength in that neutral grip position first for most people, and the underhand. So I like to do a neutral grip chin up negative or iso hold, supersetted with a narrow grip, you know, kind of like the grip that a lot of people use for seated rows, doing narrow grip, neutral grip, lat pull downs, and superset that with your chin ups to be able to start to add extra volume in there. Tip number 6 for more chin ups is to increase your frequency and jack that up. If you're only training chin ups once a week, you're not gonna be able to get your chin ups up. You want to be doing them 2 times a week minimum. Up to 3 or 4 times a week is great. And not every day is gonna be the same workout. You're gonna do maybe negatives on one day, you'll do iso holds on one day, you might just do 10 sets of 1 with perfect form on another day, and then on the 4th day, you know, you might just do something, maybe you do like an inverted row, right? To be able to get you a little bit more volume in that similar manner of pulling like that. Or you might do like an assisted pull-up machine. I'm not the biggest fan of those, but it could be a variation that you use. I really think most of the time you just need time on the bar. I also am not a huge fan of the bands as well too. I think you just need to do more negatives. Tip number 7 is to grease the groove with your 20 to 40% of your total max. What do I mean by that? I mean, every day you should be doing chin-ups if you want to do more chin-ups. So if you don't already, go to Walmart, buy a $20 to $30 pull-up bar that they have and put it somewhere in your house, and every hour do a set of chin-ups if you work from home, or if you're at home or in the morning, whatever it looks like for you, but only do 20 to 40% of your max. So if you can do 5 chin-ups, that means you're only gonna do 1 to 2 reps, right? If you can do 3 or 4 chin-ups, you're only gonna do 1 repetition, but you want that to be a perfect rep. And here's the deal, if you do that, if you work from home, you do that every hour, man, you're gonna get stronger because you've now done over the day, you might do every hour 1 chin-up. That's 10 extra chin-ups a day. At the end of a week, that's 70. So greasing the groove is this philosophy of you don't just have to be in a workout to do the movement. You can do it whenever you want. So get a pull-up bar at your house, grease the groove, and help yourself to be able to increase your chin-ups by helping you with increasing your frequency like that and doing it outside of workouts. You can also superset, like on your leg day, you can do after your squats, do like 1 chin-up. You know, after your deadlifts, do 2 chin-ups. And start to add in more volume like that. If you're on an upper body day, superset it with your pressing movements. Tip number 8 is to focus on your chest to bar as your standard. Do not focus on just getting your chin over the bar when you're doing the neutral and the underhand grip. The reason for this is you're going to use a lot more of your muscles. Your chest is gonna become more activated. If you've never trained chest to bar chin-ups, you'll be surprised that you're actually gonna get a pretty good pump in your upper chest because of the contraction of squeezing your elbows in like this in that underhand grip as you go ahead and pull up on the bar in that narrower grip. This is going to allow you to gain more muscle, build more strength through a full range of motion as well too. Tip number 9 is whenever you're training chin-ups on your primary day of the week where you're going all out, so I recommend having at least 1 day a week to where you train to technical failure. What do I mean by that? I mean, I don't want you going to failure every single day. That's just gonna get you too sore to be able to train with higher frequency. But have 1 day a week to where you do go to something called technical failure. What this means is you are only going to train your reps till you can't go chest to bar. The second you're not able to hit your chest to the bar, you stop the set. So even if you have 7 reps in you to get your chin over the bar, you end the set at set 5 or rep 5 because you're not gonna be able to get your chest over the bar for 6 and 7, it's just your chin. So that's technical failure. If you can't meet the requirements of going all the way to a dead hang at every single rep, so straight arms locked out, and then coming up to chest to bar, then you end it. If your next rep, you don't have confidence that you're gonna be able to do that, end the set. We want perfect reps. Don't get sloppy with this. When training to technical failure, I recommend doing 3 to 4 sets and just simply don't worry about the repetition number. Just let it be whatever it is on each set. Tip number 10 is when you're training to technical failure, you don't really want to give a set number of sets that you're thinking about. What you're gonna think about is once you can't do, or once you hit 50% of your max, that's when you want to stop doing chin-ups for the day. What do I mean by that? Well, I was training a client yesterday and he broke a new PR. He went from only being able to do like 1 chin-up just 2 months ago to now he's doing 8 chin-ups. And he's a 6'7" basketball player as well too. So, he's coming in, with not a lot of muscle in the frame initially, but now he's getting jacked, right? And having fun with it. But we did sets to technical failure. First set was 8, second set was 6, third set was 4. What does that mean? It means we're not gonna do a 4th set. Once you hit 50% of your top set, so your first set should be really your best when training a technical failure. When you reach 50% of that or less, that's your last set of the day. I'm not gonna do a 4th set because we'd just be training him to get weaker at that point, right? We wanna just focus on quality form. So when his best is 8, when he got to 4 on the final set, he's done. If your best is 5, then you get 4, and then you get 3, and then you hit 2, you're done at 2. 4 sets is it. Okay, don't go lower than that, just end it. And this is just for 1 day of the week. The rest of the week, you're gonna want to grease the groove and go to a little bit of a lower intensity so that way you can recover. Tip number 11 is bring back the pronated grip once you're able to do 8 chin-ups. So once you're able to do 8 chin-ups chest to bar, this is usually a good time that you can actually start training that overhand to get a little bit more focus on your lats and strengthen your forearms at a different angle, because it's so important to change up your grips frequently when training chin-ups, so that way you're able to bring in just more muscle in different areas and not be weak and have a weak link in one of those grips. So that's even a good idea when you're training more frequencies, is you might do 1 day neutral, 1 day pronated, 1 day underhand. But this is when you're on that second half of getting to 12 reps. But around the 8 mark, you can start to train pronated. They're gonna be a lot weaker. You might only be able to get 5 overhand pull-ups, chest to bar still, versus being able to do 8 underhand chin-ups. That's totally normal, but you can start to bring those in and train those a little bit more to technical failure on some days. Tip number 12 is to enhance your form. Flex your tricep at the bottom of the rep. What do I mean by that? I mean, when you're hanging like this, really flex that tricep right there, right? Flex it, flex it, flex it. Your rear delts are gonna turn on a little bit more so, and what it means is you're not gonna cheat the rep, right? If you have to flex your tricep at the bottom of the rep, this is going to make sure that you are using perfect form and going down to a dead hang at every single rep. It's gonna suck, but it helps you become better at this. Tip 13 is you're probably coming in with imbalances, so you should train Dumbbell Rose as an accessory. Bent over Dumbbell Rose is gonna be a great exercise to help you out as a B series or C series exercise on your upper body days. Superset it with something like push-ups or dips or an incline press or an overhead press, and build your lat strength and your pulling strength from another angle, and make sure that your left side is equal to your right side. I like keeping this simple, 8 to 10 reps. Next tip is you're gonna wanna take care of your tendons. So an exercise I recommend that is amazing for making sure your elbows and your shoulders stay healthy throughout your chin-up training is an incline dumbbell curl. You can do this either pronated or in a hammer curl variation. I recommend using this once to twice a week at the back end of your workout for 8 to 12 reps. Same thing as with your chin-ups. You're flexing that tricep at the bottom to really stretch out the elbow and the bicep and make sure that you're getting full range of motion, but let that really open up your chest and your biceps and take care of your elbow and your shoulder throughout this. And the final tip, guys, is to be patient. It might take you 6 months or a year or 2 years to get where you want to be with your chin-ups. Everybody's a little bit different. Some people have shorter arms that make it easier. Some people have longer arms and that makes it harder, right? Be patient with yourself. Take the time. You're not in a rush, all right? Go ahead and apply these principles. These 16 tips will change your chin-up game, and you'll come back to me in 6 months and say, Patrick, my chin-up numbers have blown up, all right? And I cannot wait to get that message from you guys as you start training your chin-ups. It's such an awesome movement to build confidence, build athletic performance, and just simply become, somebody who you're proud of when it comes to your strength that you carry both in the gym or in your sport as well. So I appreciate you guys for watching this one. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. If you're interested in coaching as well too, you can feel free to click that link down in the description to book a call with myself or my team to learn a little bit more about what we do and what it would look like to work with me one-on-one. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one.